Hey guys, it's Adam Dorito from the Dark Sabre podcast. This is going to be Slingload Sunday round 5. So, quick update. Maverick the Goose did not make it. Unfortunately, he probably had some severe brain trauma and he died. It's kind of a lesson I've learned over my life. You can't save everyone. You can only save yourself. As Andy likes to say, expect a self-rescue. So, yeah, it was unfortunate, but hey, that's farm life for you. So we got a couple questions. Let's go with the easy ones, and then we'll work down to the more intricate ones. So question number 1, how old do you have to be to skydive? In the United States, it's 18 years old. Pretty simple. You can go join the U.S. Parachuting Association and go to any drop zone and get your game on, right? Number 2, get some better footage. To be fair, I can only show certain videos and or clips even when I'm field training, OPSEC. Can't get too close to some of the guys we work with, but hey, enjoy the helicopter videos and jump videos whenever I can show them. Other than that, if you really want to experience it for yourself, go to your recruiter's office. Question number 4, how did you meet Tim Bakken? So Tim Bakken and I met indirectly. Actually, one of my NCOs from my unit reached out to me and said, hey, Dorito, there's this book called The Cost of Loyalty, and they talk about the Air Force Academy. You might be interested in this. So I actually picked up the book and I read it, and ironically, they kind of indirectly mentioned my case in there when they start talking about the OSI things. So I found that book fascinating. I believe every grad or current cadet or person who wants to go to the academy should definitely read The Cost of Loyalty by Tim Bakken, and also The Generals by Tom Ricks. Great books about leadership and where we need to get back to, especially with Tom Ricks, he discusses those things. Anyway, so I reached out to Tim Bakken randomly on Twitter, and he actually reached out back, and he answered a few questions, and we had a phone call, very fascinating phone call, and he agreed to come on the podcast. So really happy to have Tim come on the podcast and give his insight as a lawyer and as a professor who was also successful in a lawsuit against the U.S. Military Academy for retaliation. So go out and pick up the book, The Cost of Loyalty, read it. I believe every officer, soon-to-be officer, and want-to-be officer should definitely read it. So question number 3. I am a current cadet at a major U.S. university. So I'm just paraphrasing, obviously, to keep people confidential. I have always wanted to join the Space Force, and it has been my dream since I was a little kid. I work really hard. I even have a techie major, and this is where I want to go. The problem is I don't get along with anybody in the ROTC detachment, and I don't know what to do. The officers seem like they don't care, and everyone is telling me that I might not get selected for field training this summer, even though I'm really physically fit, I pass all my PT, and I'm doing really well in school. I just seem like I don't vibe with the ROTC cadets. What should I do? I hang out with all the Army ROTC and Navy ROTC guys and girls, and I get along with them way better. We go on ruck marches, and everything seems to fit better. I just don't know what to do. Please help. So this is interesting. I thought I knew what I wanted to do when I was young too. I thought I wanted to go be a fighter pilot in the Air Force. I was going to be an aeronautical engineer when I went to the academy, and literally none of those things ever happened. And even my second year at the academy, unfortunately, after I committed, I decided I didn't even want to be in the Air Force. I decided I wanted to go into the Marine Corps, and I started that cross-commissioning process, and even though all that got screwed up in the end too because of the academy, I ended up in the Army. So, and I'm very happy, to be honest. I truly do believe everything happens for a reason. However, if you're noticing these things now that you're not getting along with these types of people, now sure, could you switch ROTC detachments? Could you join something else? In the Air Force or the Space Force? Absolutely. However, I will be honest when I say that those types of personalities will exist on active duty as well. And if you're not driving with those people now, it just might not be the right fit for you. And if you're getting along way better with people in the Army or the Marine Corps or the Navy, and you haven't committed to anything yet, I highly suggest you go try those out too. There's plenty of space and technology and cyberspace operations in those branches as well. And if it's more your jam, it just might fit you well. And to be clear, there also is a commitment out of ROTC. So if you get kicked out or something bad happens to you, or somebody undermines you in the ROTC detachment after commitment, you owe that time and that money back to the Air Force as well, just like as if you would went to the Air Force Academy. So because I've already gone through it myself, I suggest that if you feel like it's not a good fit for you, that you know, don't look in the rearview mirror. Rip it right off, throw it out the window, so to speak, like I heard on Andy's podcast today as well, and move forward. Move forward and make a decision. It might be a little hard now, but it's a lot better than having to pay back the government hundreds of thousands of dollars and getting involved in some type of, drama in the end because you didn't jive well with the people that you worked with. All right, last question. Pretty short this week because I know everyone's got to get back to work, and so do I. I love the U.S., I love the U.S. military, and I serve my country, but after reading your story, how could you ever trust in the institution? Even when I was active, the things I was seeing and experiencing were outrageous, and I thought to myself, is this real? It sucks that we grew up believing that the military takes care of its own, and sadly, even from my experiences, I have not seen this. How do you do it? So, this is interesting. I do trust in the institution. Our military has done some bad things, and our military has done some great things, right? I think we've lost our path during the global war on terror in the past 20 years. There's been many intersecting generations, multi-generational wars. I mean, fathers have fought with their sons. It's been complicated. It's been an unknown and unprecedented time in our country. However, I think we really need to start holding people accountable. I think that's what will really help our military heal, whether it's sexual assault, sexual harassment, abusive chain of command, unlawful command influence, all the things we've discussed in the Dark Sabre podcast up till now, and even from guys' experiences in the military to this point. You have to be that change. If we constantly let all these bad things keep happening and we don't do anything, we don't stand up to it, nothing's going to change. And unfortunately, from my experience, a lot of the great officers, like probably the best leaders I've ever worked with, like they get out as captains. They realize that they're worth more in the civilian world or somewhere else, and they don't put up with it. They know they're never going to change it, and they don't become politicians. And unfortunately, the people who really make it to the high-ranking officer positions, whether it's generals or admirals or whatever else, some of them are people who just played nice. Now, that doesn't apply to everybody, but for the most part, all those people who made those high-ranking positions, they played the game. And if they're going to be playing the game, then of course they're not going to change a system that benefits them so much, whether it's monetarily, retirement, position-wise, benefit-wise, how it takes care of their family. I mean, in a way, I don't blame them, but it's your responsibility to hold them accountable. So don't be intimidated by rank. And if there's something wrong, say something. The institution and how it deals with these things exists, and I do believe we'll hit a turning point where we'll start holding people accountable, and we'll start bringing back that honor and integrity and selfless service back to the military in full, right? And, don't expect anything. They call it selfless service for a reason, right? And if you're joining the military to expect to be given kudos or benefits or, an attaboy or whatever, you shouldn't. I mean, I'm going to tell you, you're going to work hard. You're going to work an insane amount of time thanklessly. And that's the way it should be. You decided to join and volunteer and possibly give your life in the defense of this nation and its constitution. And it's going to come with a lot of bullshit, just to be honest. Whether it's emptying trash cans or sweeping floors or doing meaningless tasks for hours on end. It's 95% of the military is hurry up and wait. And that's what most of people's careers will be. I mean, yeah, I've talked to plenty of people. I have plenty of friends, pilots, all that other fun stuff. And yeah, they get to do something cool, but everything up getting to that point kind of sucks. I've talked to plenty of guys in pilot training who absolutely hate and almost like wanted to quit because how much they hated it in pilot training or any other parts of the service that applies. It's just the way of the knife. That's just how it is. And, get some intestinal fortitude and be the change that you want to see. If you didn't like the way you were treated or you didn't like the way things were handled in the system, it is up to you and you only, to make those changes. And it might go well for you. It might go bad for you. But nothing's ever going to change in the institution and going back to the values that our military holds so dear without you as an individual making those differences. All right, guys, looking forward to episode 7 this week. We got some great interviews coming up. Going to be interviewing some other grads and some other civilians and everything else. Hope you really enjoy it. Please like, rate, and review the podcast. It really helps us boost up in the rankings so other people will hear this story. And please share the story with your friends, share the YouTube channel or the podcast. I believe this is a story that everyone really needs to hear, and I think John and Aaron would agree. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next week.